Welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basili. In this week's Taking Back Our Schools segment, a follow-up to a story that we brought you back in December that has now grown into a bigger scandal than we had ever anticipated. Last month, we talked about how national merit scholarships were withheld from students for years at Thomas Jefferson High School in Northern Virginia, all in the name of equity. Now, 17 schools in Virginia have been exposed for this apparently racist policy. To discuss, let's bring in our panel, the executive director for the Educational Freedom Institute and senior fellow of the Reason Foundation, Dr. Corey DeAngelis, and Loudoun County, Virginia parent Joe Mobley. Thank you so much for being here. Corey, I want to go first to you. First, it was one school, and that had an equity at all costs policy. Now it's well more than a dozen schools, it's been discovered, have withheld information from high-achieving kids. Your reaction to just how this has expanded over the last few weeks?
Yeah, look, it's much worse than we had initially anticipated, and it's gone from everybody gets a trophy to nobody gets a trophy. And I think it's because we need more competition in the Virginia school system. This is one of the worst states when it comes to school choice, according to the Heritage Foundation's Education Freedom Report Card. They only have 7 charter schools. North Carolina, just to the south of Virginia, has over 150 charter schools. And so if you inject more competition into the system, perhaps these schools would have more of an incentive to actually do things that parents care about. They want their kids to get a good education. They don't want politicization in the classroom.
Joe, the scandal growing, even prompting Governor Glenn Youngkin this week to introduce legislation to protect scholarships from being withheld. At first, we were told it was all a clerical error, but it seems very much tied to this left-wing equal outcomes philosophy. But 75% of the semifinalists for National Merit Scholarships in Fairfax County were Asian students. Isn't this racism to its very core?
Absolutely. And Governor Youngkin is right to be outraged about it. And like I like to tell people, what equity means in a policy forum is racism enacted against some group, usually white students, in this case, especially Asian students. And these kids are in the top 3% of students nationwide that receive these merit-based awards. But the school needs to let them know that they received these merit-based rewards. Now their future opportunities have been stripped away.
Yeah, it's a civil rights violation, I think. Corey, the far left who's running these schools, they feel like that they can just drive their agenda with impunity. Are we seeing this type of intentional discrimination against certain racial groups or against higher achieving kids in other places? You follow this stuff on a national basis. Is this the type of thing that we're going to see more of?
I mean, we haven't seen this on a large scale, but we have seen politicization in the classroom. And this is what sparked this parent revolution all across the country for school choice. I mean, parents are clamoring for options because they don't want to be stuck in these institutions that focus more on ideological agendas than education. And Virginia has a bill moving through the legislature, House Bill 1508, championed by Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, who is a staunch school choice advocate. And the bill is run by Delegate Glenn Davis. It's already passed through a committee. Perhaps it'll go through the House, but the bad thing in Virginia is that Democrats still control the Senate. Who knows, though? Maybe a couple Democrats will come out in favor of school choice and do the right thing for once.
Yeah, I mean, the teachers union is going to put up a massive fight. And I think about the folks who pay their school property taxes, which is probably, you know, in most states, the biggest chunk of your property taxes go to these schools. And the schools are actively working against these kids and parents. Joe, you've chosen to homeschool your kids because you don't trust these school districts. What needs to happen here? The Attorney General's office in Virginia is looking into it as a civil rights violation. Are you hearing that parents are going to sue these districts? Because the damages here in terms of scholarships and other impacts can be enormous.
Absolutely. Even when it was just one school, when it was just the Thomas Jefferson Academy, there's demonstrable harm. And the answer is exactly what Corey brought up. It's House Bill 1508 passing here in Virginia, school choice. And the reason we need it, and the reason that my 4 kids that you might hear in the background are homeschooled, is because, one, educators and administrators are doing this all throughout Virginia. They're doing it all throughout the country. 2, they're hiding it. 3, and this is what people need to know, they lie about it. First, they said that it was a clerical error. Now they're saying it's a decision that they stand behind. Well, which is it? So the 4th and final point is they cannot be trusted to act in the best interest of the students and families. They've proven this time and time again.
Well,
So I support all of the efforts for school choice.
yeah, I mean, and look, these districts need to be sued. They need to be sued into oblivion. Corey, final question to you, remaining few seconds here. Is there any precedent in Virginia or other states for a state government, especially if you have serious civil rights violations going on, to take temporary operational control of a school district? I know that there are methods to do that, like control boards with municipalities. So if a municipality is mishandling taxpayer money, is that something that Virginia should do because these districts are out of control?
Yeah, the state can do that. They're called state takeovers. We've seen this in other places throughout history. But I do think the better position is to have the funding go directly to the families and let the families be in control. Yes, the state takeover could work, but the best form of accountability is bottom up through the families having a choice for their kids. That'll incentivize the public schools to get their act together.
All right, we're going to leave it there, but we are going to continue to follow this because this is a significant racial discrimination from the far left in these schools, impacting hundreds and hundreds of students. Corey DeAngelis and Joe Mobley, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309 or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.